Hey guys, in this video I'm going to explain the Gnostic Chorus, the battle pass story in Genshin, because it perfectly mirrors a story in Gnosticism. However, in Gnosticism, there's a lot more to the story. Parts Genshin leaves out to remain cryptic and obscure. In Genshin, the story starts off by saying, there once was a glorious kingdom established amongst the heavens. However, by heavens it doesn't mean in the clouds, in our dome. It means in the realm of light. That is where the heavens are, the realm of light. It goes on to say, from that kingdom came the crowned heir, tasked with seeking out the Genesis Pearl from the kingdom of darkness. So first of all of the creatures that exist in the realm of lights are aeons. A simplified way to explain what aeon is they're angelic beings. They're all angels, and they're created in pairs, and the pair that this crowned heir is part of is the youngest pair in existence. And the Genesis Pearl is the origin point for all things that we know of in our reality, in our little world, in our little bubble. All things, all elements, all matter, that's the origin point, is the Genesis Pearl. And that is not just some little magical device, that is a living entity. That is our counterpart, and our counterpart is actually Sophia in Gnosticism, and in Genshin that being is Paimon. As for the king that tasked us to complete this task, that is the overall true primordial one, not the thing that they call the primordial one in Genshin. This is the true primordial one. The thing that they call the primordial one in Genshin is actually a false god. It is the demiurge. So this guy sitting on the throne, that is the true god. That is the monad in Gnosticism. As for the kingdom of darkness, supposed to be like Egypt and Sumeria. That's in Genshin, that's Sumeru. So that's where we're tasked to go to, Sumeru, the land of darkness near the ocean. And in that place, we're supposed to find a body of water. And underneath that body of water, there's gonna lie a giant dragon-like snake, and that snake is going to be protecting the Genesis Pearl. We're supposed to go down there and resist temptation and conquer our fear and come out victorious and save the Genesis Pearl, which is Paimon, from its clutches, and then return with her. Before I continue on Genshin's version of the story where they leave out information, let me fill in the blank because they left out information here. So the king told the heir that if they were to return with the pearl, they would be given his throne, and the heir would now rule over the realm of light. And before the heir left, they were gifted all kind of things from the other aeons. The specific robes and weaponry that they're wearing, those are enchanted and infused by the other aeons, which is why in Genshin we never want to change our clothes. Like I think Ayaka one time asked us if she wants her to purchase us Inazuma robes, and we said no, that we like our robes. This is why we need our clothes, which I'll explain a little bit more later. Anyway, then the story goes on to say the first crowned heir began her journey to seeking out the pearl. I want to note really quick, in Gnosticism this character is actually a boy, but it's okay. Next it says, but she was deceived, and the memory of her noble origins faded. So there's a lot of context that they left out here. So what happened was, in the Gnostic story, the crowned heir goes down to the land of darkness. First of all, the land of darkness, the whole world is dark. We're in an evil world, first of all, but specifically the land of darkness in this evil world is Sumeru. So they go down there and they find the pearl being protected by the snake, but the snake is like loud and thrashing around and being obnoxious, and they're like, you know what, maybe it'll be easier if we just wait for the snake to be asleep, so let's just go waste time. So the crowned heir goes to like a tavern where there's a bunch of people hanging out, and they're just waiting for the snake to fall asleep, and then they figure they'll go steal the pearl. So I think in Genshin, first of all, this place where he's going to is Khaenri'ah. So Khaenri'ah is either buried under the sands of Sumeru, or it's somewhere around there, or perhaps it is trapped in a domain, but that's where it's supposed to be, in Sumeru. Anyway, the crowned heir goes to the taverns to waste time, and there's racism that occurs here. He doesn't really want to mingle with those people, but he sees someone that looks like him, and that person is Dainsleif in Genshin. So Lumine, because they portray her as the first sibling, she goes to hang out with Dainsleif, and they start spending time together. She also clues him in on what she's doing and on the origin of things, and then he decides to join her on her tasks. But in the meantime, she realizes she's not gonna fit in there because she looks different and she's dressed different. So she switches her clothes to kind of dress like them. And that's her mistake right there. So what happens is now she doesn't have that protection. And the reason that she wears the disguise is she doesn't want them to sound the alarms, and then she has to take on all these people as well as take on that giant Leviathan. So she's just gonna, you know, stealth it. Anyway, the people eventually find out that she's not one of them somehow, and they start to hang out with her and give her food and drinks, and she goes along with it. However, she gets poisoned because of this. She drinks, she eats, and she sleeps way too close to that Leviathan. And because of this, she ends up forgetting. She ends up losing herself and forgetting her origins, forgetting who she was, why she was there, what the heck she's doing. And she ends up actually serving the dark god, the false god. In Genshin it says, but she was deceived, and the memory of her noble origins faded, and she now believed that she was the queen of the kingdom of darkness. But knowing Gnosticism, there is no way that the Demiurge would allow Lumine to believe that she's the overall leader. At most, she would be like an abyss king serving under her, but ruling, having authority over her, no, he's very insecure. He has to be the top everything. He can't allow anyone to even think that they're anything better than him in any way, shape, or form. So at most, she can only believe that she's serving under him as an abyss king. In Genshin, it next says, but take heart, the second crowned heir had already taken up the path where the first had stumbled. This is the story of your journey, your tale to be told. Next, what's supposed to happen in the Gnostic story is that there's a letter written, a message, where all of the Aeons sign their name, and it is filled with all of the knowledge of everything that has ever been, everything that is, and everything that would ever be, to reawaken your sibling. A message, a letter, carried by a bird, an eagle specifically, from the heavens, from the realm of lights. That's all just symbolism. This is an angel, an Aeon. This is specifically the second sibling. This is Ether, you, the player. You're sent down there to go reawaken your sibling and to finish the task that they couldn't finish, which is to save the pearl, which is Paimon. So what happens next in the Gnostic story? We don't exactly know how much time passed, but I don't think it was supposed to be 500 years, but whatever, Genshin can take as much time as they want because it wasn't specific. Anyway, in the Gnostic story, we eventually do find our sibling, and we do enlighten them with all the knowledge that they need to awaken, and then we give them their robes back, and their robes are adorned with all of the visions, all of the Sephiroths, as well as they regain their gnosis, their spiritual enlightenment, and then we complete our tasks and we return with the pearl, which is Paimon. However, our story doesn't end there, and it is nowhere near that simple. Also, we have far more tasks at hand to take care of. This story is just kind of like a simplified version of our overall story, but there's so many more things that we are tasked to do, so many more stories we're a part of, and way more stories and things that Paimon, Sophia, needs to do before we're actually finished here. But if you want to see any of the other stories in Gnosticism and how Genshin mirrors it, or if you want to understand certain things in Genshin that are very obscure, then I probably have a video for it, or I'm working on a video for it. But anyway, that's about it for now, guys. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.